I like to cook, but I'm definitely not an expert. I came across this the other day. I had a ribeye and I've got a Traeger smoker. You can use any pellet grill, pellet smoker, obviously. But anyway, this was awesome. Got a ribeye, take a little bit of olive oil, rub that around on it a little bit, get that just coated, okay? Then this Traeger coffee rub, stuff's awesome. Okay, and I douse that pretty good, cover it up. Okay, flip it over, make sure you get the other side. I've got the Traeger outside. I've got it on the lowest smoke temperature getting ready. That's 165 on mine. I know some of them can probably go lower. I would go with the absolute lowest temp that you can get to have smoke, so you're not really cooking the meat. I typically grill my steaks. I use my Traeger almost daily for chicken, fish, but I always grill my steaks on the regular grill. I don't like my steaks cooked very much. I like for it to have a good bit of pink or red in the middle. This is an exception for me, and it turned out great. And while the Traeger is getting up to smoke, we're gonna slice up the potato. I love the mandolin. You get the perfect consistent size on the potatoes. Be careful, you can also not only slice potatoes, you can slice a finger right off. So make sure you're paying attention when you use a mandolin, but I love it. What we'll do with that is, while all that's going on, I always put my potatoes into a bowl. Put a little ice on it. A little ice on top, and let those soak in ice water. I do it for at least 15 minutes, but I'm gonna let these go pretty much until about enough time to cook those, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute, so that it all times out well with the steaks coming off the Traeger. The reason that you put them in the ice water, it helps draw the starch out of them, and they seem to bake up better in the oven. So the Traeger's up to about 160, which is just about perfect. Look at that, God, it looks good. But anyway, I'm gonna throw this on here, and I'm gonna just close it up and set the timer for 35 minutes, and then come get it. So while I've got the steak outside on the Traeger, I've got my potatoes out of the water, and what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take all these, I'm gonna put them onto a baking pan. I just put a little aluminum foil down, spray it with some olive oil spray, and then I put it in the oven at 400 degrees. My oven cooks it, it's about 13 minutes, sometimes 14, before they start to get a little too burnt. Depends on how you like them, but I would start checking the oven about 10 minutes until you see just how fast your oven cooks. And then in a minute, I've got these great mushrooms and onions that I'm gonna throw over here and saute to go on top of the steak when we finally get done. And we'll bring the steak in a minute. So I brought the steak in, okay, it's set out at 165 degrees on the Traeger for 35 minutes. Hope you can see the color in that and the smoke that's penetrated into the meat. But anyway, it looks fantastic, and we're just gonna let that sit here. I turned the Traeger up to 500, okay? So when it gets to 500 degrees, we're gonna throw this back on for a few minutes. Okay, so the Traeger's almost up to 500. I'm gonna go ahead and start sauteing the mushrooms. I always do the mushrooms just a couple of minutes. I start them off a couple of minutes before the onions. So, and just a little bit of butter is all I'm using today, and only enough to just basically coat the mushrooms. Now, I've also got the potatoes in the oven, and I'm gonna take this out and throw it on for about 4 minutes each side. Okay, so here we are, we got the finished product. The steak looks fantastic. We're gonna take some of these mushrooms and onions, put it over the top. Take some of these potatoes on the side. And this is going to be awesome. I'm telling you, this is so easy to do, and it's one of the best steaks I've ever had. Like I said earlier, typically I like my steaks rare, medium rare. I don't think I would do this with any other steak besides a ribeye or something that's got a lot of high fat content, because man, it melts down in there. And oh my God, it's just so good. So, couldn't let you go without seeing what it looks like in the center. Look at that. Absolutely perfect, fantastic. Give it a shot. I think you'll love it.